have a very special guest with us here today. His name is Gabe Page. He's a close friend of mine from Cincinnati, Ohio. I met him through the School of Rock in Mason, Ohio, and when I met him, he was actually playing drums. So, kind of, I know you're playing with Saving Escape. You're playing in the band that I'm in currently, Ipsa Loquitor, and you're also playing guitar for Sylvia Cullen. So, tell me more about yourself that I didn't already mention.
Well, I guess there isn't really too much. I guess, obviously I'm very passionate about music, something that I've really cared a lot about, really since, even I met you in School of Rock and stuff. It's just really become a much bigger part of my life recently now that I've kind of gotten out there, started playing with more groups. Obviously I'm working on some of my own music. I love to write songs. It's a little bit more on the prog side for some of them, but obviously, my roots are in classic rock. You look around this apartment, you see all the Aerosmith stuff, but I just really, I care a lot about all kinds of music, and even though rock is my forte, I really have a great respect for all kinds of musicians, and I'm always open to learning more about other styles.
Cool. Yeah, I remember I met you at School of Rock. I think we played, was it Holiday by Green Day in Room B or something like that?
Man.
Oh,
Day one.
I think that was the first day I met you. We just started jamming. You're came in, was I'm playing drums.
Yeah, pretty much, man. That's,
so talk to me about School of Rock. What got you into that?
Honestly, I just lived close to it, and I had recently seen the movie, with Jack Black, So, I think we had literally just gone to get gas. I think my mom was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go, fill up the car because we're getting ready to go on a road trip or something." She's like, "I'm gonna go fill up the car. You can come with me if you want." She said, "Oh yeah, because I wanted to get a ball, UDF or something." I don't remember any exact detail. All I remember was we were out there, we were driving. We just drove past the School of Rock, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's like the movie, right? What? I didn't even know this existed. I thought it was cool. So we came back later. We met Tim Gary, the owner, and he kind of set me up with my first drum lesson there. I had actually just saved up some money and bought a drum set, which I still have. Not the greatest piece of equipment or pieces of equipment, but they've worked and they've worked for me for a long time.
Yeah.
And that was it. That kind of really got me more involved in music, more actively involved rather, because before I'd only really just played piano, almost passively in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know how kids are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really kind of got me inspired and started working. I learned Paranoid by Black Sabbath, played that on the drums with Rock 101, then I did the Punk New Wave show, and then the Who show, and just kept building from there, man.
Yeah. Did you know Tim shaved his beard?
Oh yeah, I was there. I'd never even seen him with a beard when I first met him. He was clean shaven for a year or two before he grew it out.
And then I don't recognize him without the beard now.
Oh yeah, me neither. And it's kind of funny because that's how you met him, but then you get used to the beard.
Right.
I don't know. And I remember for House Band the one time he did he dressed up as Santa for the Christmas show. That was pretty.
That was pretty cool. So what got you into guitar versus drums at School of Rock?
Honestly, there wasn't really a good reason. I felt like expanding a little bit. I kind of started teaching myself guitar a few months after I had started drums at the School of Rock. Then my school, the Schilling School, was also offering a little guitar course where Mr. Heflin was sort of, getting a bunch of us kids started, sort of teaching us all your basics. You're like, oh, so this is G major, or that's C, I'm not, but teaching us the three chords that every beginner guitarist knows and thinks they're hot shit. Oops, excuse me. And of course I thought I want to learn something else too. So what do guitarists default to?
Classic Deep Purple, man.
I eventually learned Stairway to Heaven, which is equally as memed in guitar stores, equally as forbidden in any kind of musical context. But I just basically felt like it. I don't really have a good reason for getting more into guitar. Just kind of felt like it.
So we kind of covered where you started in music. So where do you want to be in the future?
Where do I want to be?
In 5, 10 years?
I just want to keep playing. I want I want to, get some more of my original stuff out there. I want to work with, whoever I can. I really just want to get immersed in the industry in any way possible, because it's something that I have grown very passionate of. And I really can't put into words sort of just how I feel about music, because playing guitar, being on stage, is like I'm in this just sort of euphoric trance, which I know sounds really cheesy the way I kind of describe it, but that's really what music is like to me. Is any kind of time I'm listening to something, I'm always like focusing in on the melodies, the rhythms, the lyrics, and I love exploring music and exploring what I can do with music. So yeah, just my goals: keep playing, get out on tour, just stay on the grind.
Yeah, so is that why you moved to Nashville? Since I know you're at the University of Dayton, you just kind of wanted to play out, like the music capital of the world, pretty much?
Yes, sir. That is exactly why I saw Belmont's program. I saw just, everything all the connections that they had sort of in and around Nashville. There were a lot of the opportunities, that you could get from, some of the production stuff as well. So I thought, doing music business would be really good, because then I'd have some sort of ability to at least manage my own career a little bit. But also then, if I end up wanting to work with a record label or a production firm or something, I still have options. But basically, I think having that music business degree is kind of my Swiss Army knife is going to end up being kind of my Swiss Army knife to the industry, to which I could produce, I could engineer, I could make, I could keep playing, or I could do a combination of those, and that's really that's really what I would like to do. Just sort of kind of not only getting myself involved in the industry, but I hope to bring more people into the industry sort of as I'm building my career as well.
Cool. And so who you say are your top 4 influences?
Top 4, that's hard. Oh man.
Or don't put a number on it. Just say your top influences.
I'll try to keep it to 4, but I may expand a little bit. I'm gonna say biggest ones for sure. I was just talking about this too. I love Aerosmith. They have been they have been a huge inspiration for me over the years. I've seen them a ton of times.
Didn't you play with them, or?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to meet. I was lucky enough to meet the band, and Joe Perry actually played that guitar that you have over there.
Kind of throw this in the frame here.
A little bit. And that is he's a Midas Generation 1 Metal Front 2008. This is my baby, but it needs a setup. That's why I'm not holding it right now. So, but yeah, no, it was super cool. But yeah, Aerosmith is a big one. Eric Johnson, another one. Humphreys McGee. I got into them a couple years ago. I've actually been in touch with Jake and Brendan a little bit as well. I took some lessons with them. Great guys, tons of fun. And obviously they've continued to inspire me a lot over recent years. And so that's 3. I'm thinking that fourth is pretty hard, because again, just lots of influences and lots of things that I really love. Because like on the prog rock side of things, you have all the classics, the Yes, Genesis, King Crimson, the Rush, of course, but also some of the newer bands like Spock's Beard, or some of Neil Morse's stuff, like Neil Morse Band. Transatlantic was cool. Dream Theater, obviously. There's just a lot of options. Big Train, another one I kind of got into recently. I really kind of like the themes and stuff with their music. But then there's also like the jam band side of like I love the Allman Brothers. I love the Grateful Dead. All those like the classic jam bands. Some newer ones, I guess. Newer like Fish, Pigeons Like Ping Pong. I guess Turquoise counts as a jam band to a degree. Lots of obviously then as you start getting into that era that section of funk, and funk turns back into different. But then on the others, I'm a big fan of like Living Colour as well. I'm a big fan of a lot of other like classic rock bands. Obviously, The Who is a big one for me. There's just too many, and I know I'm leaving a lot out, but there are really too many to list, because everybody I see play, everybody who I listen to, I'm always trying to say like, ooh, I like that, or hey, that's cool. I want to sort of figure out how to get more of that in. So like listening to listening to Steely Dan and Stevie Wonder. That's yeah, you gotta catch
Tongue twister.
Yeah, you're catching me slipping up a little bit here. This is real exclusive stuff. Yeah, like Steely Dan and Stevie Wonder, listening to guys like that and sort of how they put chord progressions together in their songs has really helped me kind of delve into like, you know, kind of that new kind of realm of music too, kind of getting more into like, hey, here's some weird chords or extensions I can use, or ways I can move my chords to transition into different keys, or you know, maybe not on a Coltrane level, but you know, at least to some degree where I'm adding a lot of interesting harmonic movement in some of the stuff that I'm trying to write. But yeah, that's I went on for a long time there, I know, but that's there's a lot to unpack.
Cool. And so I know you were on tour with Saving Escape, so kind of like take me through like some advice you have. What was your routine so you weren't tired on the road and everything like that?
Well, it was the big one I can think of, like we've got a couple multi-day trips, like not like big tours in any sense, but like we had a couple trips. Like at one point we went up to Columbus to open for the Raconteurs at what is it, Express Live, I think is the one up there, and then we went up to Toledo as well and played another show up there the next day. That was kind of our first 2-night kind of experience. That was pretty cool. Then later we went on a bigger trip where we went through Michigan, Indiana, and then finished our last show a little bit outside of Chicago in Illinois. That was a 3-day trip, and that one was pretty exhausting because we were all in a big band together, which we rented it, but it had plenty of space, you know. So I don't know, advice for staying awake: drink lots of tea, and I personally recommend if you can get like the Pure Leaf unsweetened tea. That was my go-to because not only does it have the most caffeine, like just pure black tea, not only has the most caffeine, but also it's kind of bitter. So that kind of, you know, gets you that shock in the morning almost. But obviously if you're a coffee drinker, coffee has more caffeine. But also make sure you eat plenty, because that is super important. And I'm not just saying like eat anything, because like I made the mistake of it. Like one of those nights I went to, you know, we finished our show, and I went to Denny's with a couple of the guys at like 2 in the morning, and I felt like shit the next morning. I was not feeling good. I woke up, I was kind of nauseous. I'm like, oh man, that was a mistake, you know. And it was a mistake, because if you're not eating well, if you're not taking care of yourself on tour, it's going to go downhill really fast.
Especially if you're not used to that kind of lifestyle.
Oh yeah, yes, but especially if you're not used to it. I mean, it's just something you just really gotta be conscious of, making sure that you eat enough and making sure that you're still eating decently. Like you don't have to have necessarily like catered meals and like only the most healthy things, but like, you know, if you're choosing between McDonald's and Subway, you know, it's little things you can do to just kind of keep it as good as you can with like limited options.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you have like advice for like guitar players who are trying to learn something, they're struggling, or they don't understand how this works?
Well, I'd say if you're a beginner and you're having trouble sort of figuring out how everything connects, find out how you want to look at the guitar. Because for me, you know, the way I kind of learned a lot of theory on the guitar and, you know, putting different scales and chords together was just with all these geometric patterns. You know, music at its core is still based on mathematical principles. So think about sort of how you want to view the guitar. Like, do you want to be, like, when you look and you're trying to play an arpeggio, for example, are you thinking about it in just purely as intervals that you can maybe take anywhere on the neck, or are you trying to think of it as, hey, I know that here's my 1, here's my 3, here's my 5, or for example, here's a 7, you know, are you thinking about each of those rather, or are you thinking about it as a cascade, or all of them together, or, you know, so it's just a matter of, and this may be a little bit vague, I may not be making a lot of sense, because it's just sort of my own personal experience with picking it up, kind of having some time in a lesson room, a lot of time some time by myself, kind of mixing the self-teaching with different lessons from different teachers, you know, just I'd say figuring out your fretboard geometry is huge, and sometimes that requires just putting it down for a little while. Just, you know, instead of trying to play, you just looking and saying, if I want to play X, Y, or Z, that is where I have to play it. And just saying, okay, that's what I need to play. Now, how am I going to play it? And it's taking it step by step, baby steps, really slow. It can be excruciating at times, and I have to do that sometimes when I'm trying to figure out like really advanced pieces, you know, because you know it's going really fast, and I'm messing it up when I'm trying to play. So I have to go, okay, let's take a deep breath. Look at where everything needs to be, and you don't have to go through and point it out. Just kind of look for a second, analyze it, think about it, sort of almost savor it for a moment, and then just take it slow. Take it real slow. But that's just I guess maybe from a theory perspective, a little bit from a practice perspective. I don't know if you like have exercises or something that people would need, or.
Yeah, so I guess like, do you have any good techniques, like where to position your hand around the fretboard? I know like sometimes like wrapping your thumb around, back, anything like that could help them with learning all this stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I think in terms of hand positioning, something that helps for me a lot is just sort of finding what's comfortable. Now, I like to hold the guitar like this, which is not conventional. I mean, classical guitarists have their thumb kind of on the back of the neck like that, and they arch their fingers around like this so they can kind of
a little bit more reach, I guess, with the pinky.
Maybe they can stretch a little more. I mean, I kind of have to do that if I'm playing like something like Hot for Teacher, where I got this big ass stretch here, you know, or wherever.
Yeah, that's about right there.
Because that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know it too. You know how to play that. But you know, but most of the time, playing chords and stuff, I'll even like, you know, instead of playing like this kind of like a bar chord, like, you know, I might kind of do that because I like to wrap my thumb around, but I feel like I have more control that way. And obviously, I'll play both. I'll play both bar chords and sort of these Hendrix chords, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
But it's all just about being able to do kind of any of those things is important. But like when you get to a place, I like this because I feel like I can dig in to guitar a little bit more. I have a better grip on the neck this way. It just feels more solid to me. So playing like this, with my thumb not always entirely wrapped around, but like kind of closer to this part of the neck here, I feel like that's just more comfortable for me. And I think it's going to be more comfortable for a lot of rock guitarists just because of the nature of the things you're going to have to play. But then, in terms of right hand placement, and that's a big one, because like, some people have great left hand dexterity because they practice this, but they're right. You know, you gotta make sure your right hand's keeping up.
In sync, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean it has to be. That's what music is about, right? But you know, just something you can do is just like without even playing a note, you can just take your pick. You know, find a comfortable way to hold it, and just do that consistently. And then you can speed it up.
16th notes. Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever I went into triplets at the end, but like you just getting a feel for how the pick feels. This is like for beginners, of course, you know, but then just doing that and maybe or like doing whatever kind of across strings. but then like once you maybe get a little bit more used to that, there's some exercises you can do. And I've got a picking exercise that I like that also kind of incorporates a little bit of left hand dexterity. That's just kind of a little simple pattern that you just move up and down the neck. But it goes across 3 strings. Basically, sort of, this is more meant to be a right hand exercise than a left, although it does have a little bit of left hand work in it as well. But you pretty much are just playing kind of almost like a second inversion chord, but you're putting a fifth on the top. So you start with just kind of just going from the 5 to the 1 to the 5 to the 1, and then that'll be a 3, 2, 1, and then sliding up. So mainly with the picking pattern you're going to want to do is kind of like this. So and you do want to alternate pick it because that's sort of the idea was that you're trying to work on your alternate picking, kind of skipping between strings and stuff. And you just kind of take it all the way up to that octave and then back down again. But with this, I'll play the pattern really slowly here. And that's the new start. But it's still, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's still very symmetrical. It's not any odd time signatures or anything. So hopefully that can help you work on your alternate picking a little bit.
Thank you, Gabe, for coming in today, or I guess I came to you. I guess thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure hanging around with you.
Absolutely, man.
Well, go ahead and name off some of your social media so people can reach you, and I'll of course put it into the actual blog post.
Thank you.
Go ahead and say what it is. And
yeah, well, you can find me. I'm not exceedingly active on social media, but I will try to get back to that a little bit more. Instagram is Gabe Page Music. Facebook I think is about the same. It's just if you look up Gabriel Page Music or Gabe Page Music, you should probably find it on there. I know I have those 2 linked. I actually don't have a Twitter, but if I do get one soon, I will make sure to let you know, and you can retroactively plug this in there or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabe. Thanks for listening to Luke's Music Lounge. Hope you have a great rest of your day.